Right, gonna touch up on powerlifting. So today we're gonna chat with Andy Bolton and strengths legend in my eyes, one of the greatest who's ever bloody stepped on a strengths platform. But I understand that a lot of people won't follow strength scene as much as I do, even though they kind of love being strong. So I would like to, Andy, just give us a
Yeah.
brief outline. Who the hell are you? What have you done? And you know, first man alive to
Well,
deadlift 1,000 pounds, like
yeah,
that's obscene.
yeah.
So,
Well, started lifting weights at 18. Started bodybuilding. 2 years bodybuilding. Competed in a British qualifier. I got third place. Alongside training for bodybuilding, there were a group of powerlifters in the same gym as me. So they were competing in powerlifting. I was training for bodybuilding, and these guys noticed me and noticed how strong I was at the time. They're saying you need to leave bodybuilding and come to powerlifting and join us. But I committed to bodybuilding, so I wanted to do a competition, and then after that point, I could move. So I did a British qualifier, dieted for 12 weeks, lost about 4.5 stone, competed. I can't remember where it was. Nottingham, I think it was. I got third out of 8. Just missed a place at the British. Didn't enjoy the dieting. I
mm,
was miserable. I was just, it wasn't, and to be honest, genetically, I wasn't made. Thick waist, not a big bicep, good legs, big back, but I was never going to make it in bodybuilding. So I joined these group of powerlifters. Within 1 year, I was world champion. Within 3 years, I was 3 times world champion. So that was 90, 91, 92, 93. And then I got a call from strongmen, World Strongest Man promoters, and I did strongman from 94 to 99, where I snapped a bicep. And then in 2000, I started back in powerlifting. And from 2000 to 2009, they were my strongest years when I dominated powerlifting, pulled 1,000 pound twice, squatted over 1,200, bench just short of 800 pounds, and became one of the greatest powerlifters
so you pretty
of
much
all
tried
time.
it all. You know what interests me? What I have found that a lot of strong guys have been incredibly fit to begin with.
Yep.
Was
Yep.
there anything that you did before you started even bodybuilding that kind of
Yep.
contributed for you to being fit to be able to train long and train hard?
From 11 years old, track and field, 100 meters, 200 meters. Then I played rugby league from 13 up until 17.
Mm.
Never touched the weight, all body weight stuff, push-ups, running, hill sprints. So I'm very fit all the way from 11 years old, all the way to starting bodybuilding at 18. So I'd always been active, I'd never just sat around playing these bloody PlayStation games and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is
Always
fascinating because
on the bike and everything.
like when I talk about people like Martin Schleitz is world champion in wrestling, Thor, Brian Shaw, basketball, Eddie Hall, nearly professional level swimmer, all those kind of things. And then I speak to people, and when I program them, my programming is more about body weight stuff. Let's get you fit first. Let's get you fit for training hard. And they just go, "You're mad. That's not a strength training." And then they get strong so quick. Everyone is just going like, "Oh, he must be on ton of steroids." No, I
Yeah,
just kind of acknowledge that their missing link is probably fitness. That's why they're not getting strong. And it's interesting that you just kind of affirmed that you had this like preset to be able to train hard and long and recover quicker than anyone else already.
yeah,
So, and I
definitely.
think that's missing key in everyone else's programs now.
It is, but I mean, I program a lot of people as well, and what I find is what they lack now is patience.
Hmm.
They don't want to go through these stages. They just want to lift heavy now. They
Yeah.
don't want to. It takes time to get to that level, and you've got to build that base first. The fitness, even at my biggest and strongest, I was still doing hard hill walking twice a week,
Yeah.
all out, 20 to 30 minutes twice a week.
Hmm.
So even for a super heavyweight powerlifter, I could squat 1,200 pounds, go on to the bench over 700. You could give me 30 minutes rest, and I could pull 900 pounds.
Yeah.
I wasn't struggling when it comes to deadlifts. I was getting stronger as the meet
Yeah.
went on. And that's that fitness, conditioning and fitness.
It's interesting because I'm like Big Z. I'm fascinated by all the strength athletes, and I'm speaking to someone and I say, "Oh, these strongmen, all the strongest guys are just big and fat." I'm like, I'm not being funny. Big Z don't rest more than 2 minutes ever in his training sessions. Try to squat 400 kilos and then have 90-second break and do that again. You need to be so fit. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just a different level of conditioning. It's a different level. I used to squat and deadlift together at the same night. I put them the same night so it prepared me for competitions. Because that's what we did in powerlifting competitions.
Yeah.
And I could squat to 400 kilos, then deadlift 350 straight after, and then do leg press at the end.
Yeah, you won't see that.
And then I could come in the next day on Thursday and do all my upper back, heavy leg press the day after, and I was fine. You know, I mean, guys don't do that today. They get scared. Oh, it's not enough rest. You need to rest this, rest that. You know, you don't have to do all that.
It reminds me when I started to train my legs seriously. I was training them every other day, and people would just go, "Oh, you're just gonna get lost in size and whatnot." I'm like, I'm not being funny. I have one of the biggest pair of legs in the place, but I was walking every day. I was working as a postman. I was walking like 5 to 8 hours every single day. So my fitness was just ridiculous. I could train until I get sick, and at the same time, I would wake up next morning. I'm not even sore. So So what?
Everybody's different. Like everybody's different.
Yeah, I think everyone is different, but at the same time, everyone I speak to, I seem like there is this like similar stuff that you need to be fit to be strong. You can never be too fit.
No,
and
never.
Somewhere it is just lost. You know, God knows why. Like I look at it in this way: if you don't think that Mariusz Pudzianowski was one of the greatest examples that you can be extremely fit and extremely conditioned and still be the best on the planet, then nothing else will. So
you can't lift big weights and carry on if you're not fit. If you're not fit, you can't lift anything. I do my bike now. I do bike nearly every day up to an hour.
Oh yeah, I see shredded quads and everything.
I'm doing that every day, and it's not affecting my gym training. I'm still deadlifting 300 for 5 reps, and the day before I did a bike ride. It's not hurting me.
Yeah, I don't even understand where this misconceptions that cardio is going to make you small is come from, but but I wanted to like touch into like, what do you think? Is there a genetical kind of outlines that you have noticed that has to be there for someone to reach elite level powerlifting strength? So what I mean by that, is there some kind of biomechanical like levers or something like that, or someone needs to be able to eat a lot, or someone needs to be able to train as intense as you did so often, or is there something that's similar to the highest level powerlifters?
Yeah, well, when it comes to genetics in your body, mate, in your body, genetically, like me, I'm always going to be, we're not always going to be, but I've got the levers for deadlift. I've got quite short from knee to hip, quite short there. Got long arms, powerful legs. So the levers for deadlift are pretty good. But then for bench press, the long arms for deadlift aren't so good for the bench press. You see, so you don't often get a great deadlifter who's a great presser.
Yeah,
but I can think of one actually. Eddie Hall is an exception because he's a great deadlifter and he's a great presser. See what I mean?
He's very well built.
Yeah. So he's got a bit of everything. Eddie. He's a strong squatter, strong bencher, and strong deadlifter. You don't get many people like that. They excel in a couple of lifts. Squat. I was a good squat and deadlifter. My bench were good, but it wasn't world level. So as far as that goes, yeah. But I don't believe you should limit yourself to them genetics, because I had long arms, but I still benched 350 kilos, the biggest bench in Britain in 2014. If you look at it, took me at 36 and 39 years old, I was pulling 1,003, 1,008. I was 44. So 5 years later, before I benched 350, it took me 5 years longer to peak on bench.
Yeah.
Than the other two, but that was just consistently working hard all the time, never letting off, pushing, failing weights many times, but keep on pushing. So genetically, it wasn't my strongest lift, but it did get there in the end. So, I mean, people say, "Oh, yeah, but I'm not genetically good at that. I'm never going to be a good deadlifter." Well, then straight away, you're putting a limit on yourself, and I don't believe in putting limits And people ask me, you know, if I train with you, what could I deadlift? I'm going to be able to deadlift this amount by next year. And I said, why limit it to that amount?
Yeah.
Keep an open mind. I want it to be as strong as possible as I could be. I didn't have set limits. You know, you just got to tick off the little boxes as you go along. But genetics is also comes down to mind. You've got to have an attitude where, you know, I don't know. I think the work ethic comes from the younger days, playing rugby, track and field, because you're used to that. Today, the guys, they go into the training because they've seen it on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and it looks great. And competing is great, you know, when you're on that stage, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, the work you put in. I mean, my life when I was lifting at them levels, I had a daughter 14 years ago when I was my strongest. I didn't see anything of her for a couple of years hardly, because our training, when I was coming home from the gym, she was going to bed. I was going to work, training. My wife took care of everything like that for me. So I could just train, didn't have to wake up through the night. So genetics and help from people close to you, mentally, you've got to be willing to put that amount of work into it. It makes sacrifices in your life. You can't be scared of getting hurt. I pushed the limits. I mean, I had a few injuries and obviously my kidneys went at the end. I pushed the limits a bit too far. So I went over the top. But I don't know, it's genetics, mental, physical. They help, you know, if you're going to be an elite, one of the few best in the world, I think you need that. But I still think you can be great if you put the work in, to be honest.
So this brings me to next thing. So would you say, okay, genetics, they play a role. Would environment be a bigger role? Because you mentioned you train track and field, you went into ideas that you want to do bodybuilding, but you were surrounded with powerlifters who were just literally pulled you in, and within a couple of years you were world champion. So how important is the right environment?
Oh, everything. I've said to this, I'll say now, tell everybody, without that team of powerlifters around me from being 20 years old, and they're still around me now, I've still got the same, more or less the same team. I would not have done anything I did. I would not have pulled 1,000 pounds. I would not have squatted 1,200. I wouldn't have won 7 world titles and set all these records. I would not have done that by myself. It's impossible. Because every session, you don't always go into a session feeling amazing. Sometimes you're feeling down, you're feeling tired. But when you see other lads pushing and pulling you up, you know what? You can't. I just couldn't have a bad day. You can't have a bad day. You've got these guys around you. And at one time, we had six British champions, I think 2 world champions and a couple of European champions, all in the same team.
And you want to compete against each other, don't you? You don't just train
all the time. Every training session we did was like a competition. Because if you've got 6 to 8 lads squatting deadlifting and we all go around in order, just like you're doing a competition, so you're preparing for competition lifts. Same with bench press, everything's the same. So without them, and the family, my wife, I met my wife right at the beginning of all this, and she's always let me, you know, done everything else, let me train, you focused on that, I'll take care of everything else. So you need that as well at home. You can't have somebody who's moaning when you're going to the gym, moaning when you're eating so much, moaning when you can't go here, you can't go there. So team around you is everything. Family as well, everything. I think every great athlete has got a great support network. And we did that training. I did my training DVD years ago, and there was Brian Batchelor, who was a big help to me in the early years. And he said it's no one man. It's team, Bolton. I had people doing my massage, you know, my nutrition, supplements, everything. People I could call about training. What do you think of this? What do you think I should do here? I didn't have really anybody coaching me as such, but a few people around me who I could trust, who I'd ask, you know, call and ask. But it's everything if you want to make it to the top, everything.
It's interesting because I can so relate. Like when I was starting to train, we were around up to 8 people, who were just training, and we were just trying to kill each other. We were just youngsters. But then one of my direct training partners, he was 90 something kilos. He had Europe's record at 82 kilo body weight, 255 kilo raw bench press. And he never fucking told me. Like, I trained with him for 4 years and I'm trying to chase him. I was same exact body weight and I'm benching like 170, 190, like 20 years old. And I'm like, why the hell is he benching 70 kilos more than me? So annoying. And then someone like pointed out, have you seen that? I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's certificate for having a Europe's record in bench press. I'm like, you bastard. That no one was arrogant about that. They were just training hard. And like you said, you walk in a gym, there might be one or two guys who are feeling a bit tired, a bit lethargic, a bit off, and you have 6 others screaming at you. You're like, 20 minutes in, you're going for it. You're really
exactly.
Going.
Yeah, you don't need. Yeah, you don't. That's what a team does. I mean, I don't care how mentally strong you are. No man, especially when it comes to power training, can train by themselves and have a great workout all the time, because there's some days when you just don't feel it, no matter what level you're at, and you need people around you to pull you up, and just to remind you why you're doing this. And then you've got a competition coming up, and them guys are going to be training hard, and they're not going to be slacking off. You just need that every now and again.
Yeah, I don't think you see anyone in like really high level strength comps that are just single on their own when they train. So you have like Ray KK and all these kind of guys, like where I come from. So we're just corner of guys screaming and shouting at each other. You just could not even enter that environment. It was.
That's what our sessions are like. They're crazy. Some of the videos we put out, it's crazy. The energy and the atmosphere, every session. People come into our session, and they can't believe it. This is just amazing. But we've got a lineup of people waiting to join, but we can't have them. We've got limited so many people, because when you come to, we've had people come to the team because they've seen it on the outside and the videos. Oh, that's great. It's amazing to be there. As soon as they get there, they last a week, 2 weeks, because I don't take no shit. And if you're shit, I'll tell you shit. If you're not pulling your weight, I'm going to tell you. I'm not soft on people. I've fallen out with many people over the years, many friends, because I'm one. In the gym, it's work for me, even now. But then when I go out, I can leave the gym after screaming at you, telling you you're not doing it right, and you're getting upset, to go in for a drink an hour later and be your best friend. I don't take it out of the gym. To me, it's not personal. I see it as it's all what's done in the gym, and I'm very hard on people like that, because I expect them to work like I work. You know, I'm the first one there and the last one to leave. I set all the kit up. I leave last. It's all my equipment, and if anything goes wrong, I fix it. It's down to me. So you've got to do what I'm doing. Yeah.
The way I perceive these things is you have to create different personality for gym environment. It's like for your training, you're not going to be at home the way you are in gym. And if you are going to be in a gym the way you are with your wife, you're never going to train hard. So it's just stupid.
No chance. You've got to separate it. You've got to separate it. But I don't know if a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, I think I was taught that from like very early, like beginnings, because I was surrounded by, we had a coach who was like coaching for Soviet Union powerlifting teams and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he was like, you think about this, you do that. When you walk in, my training partner, he used to come in the gym and start stroking bar. And in September, you have these new kids coming, school starts and some kids coming over and whatnot. And he would stroke this bar and he goes, why the hell you need women when you have iron to lift? And everyone just looks at him weird. But that was the attitude. That was him revving himself up. So you know, just creating that different like person for the training. So but I don't think many take that mental aspect in count anymore. And when they achieve something, they kind of go, oh, I don't want to train with anyone anymore. I'm better than anyone. And it's like, that's not how you get better.
I tell you what. We've also had people with us, they've had a couple of little injuries, and they've said, if I get injured again, I'm stopping. I'm not lifting anymore. I'm like, if you get injured again, you're not lifting anymore. You can't really love lifting. You don't love lifting then, do you? And then I've had people telling me, they tell me every week, oh, I love this. This is what I'm meant to do. I love this. A year later, I'm going to focus on my career now. I'm thinking, you know what? But it annoys me, because I bring these people in, and when I bring somebody into the team, I put a lot of work into them. A lot of energy. And my wife tells me I need to stop it, because they let you down. They're just not as focused as I am.
Well, that's why you're as great as coach. You know, if you don't put your heart in, you're not going to achieve anything.
Yeah,
And
it bothers me when people don't do good lifts. It bothers me.
yeah,
It upsets me. I want I want everybody to do the best they can. You
yeah,
know?
I like it's really good. And I can see some people they train hard and then they go, oh, but I want to have a bit of life. What do you mean you want to have a bit of life?
I
You
know.
want to
Yeah,
live like, you know, a bit of life. Do you mean going out and getting drunk and just sitting on the sofa? What kind of life
yeah,
is that? That's boring. Like I always say,
exactly.
you can have whatever the hell you want, but you can't have everything you want. So pick
Yeah,
one. So you
yeah.
can't just double
That's
into
it.
one
You've got
thing.
to focus on one. Yeah, it's. I mean, if you love lifting, I mean, lifting it has been my life. It still is my life to this day.
Yeah,
Just because I've got older and I'm not as strong, it doesn't mean I take it less serious.
yeah,
I never miss a session at the gym. I still put my cardio in. I'm still eating what I'm eating every day. You know, I'm not just doing nothing because I'm older. Oh, Andy, you're 50 now. You should take it easy. No, I'm chasing records over 50s now, all-time records.
yeah. And you're doing it. It's just insane. Like I can't wait. So from all this, moving into like, how do you think important is training experience for someone who is just doubling into it or to reach elite level? So you spoke a bit. We have talked many times that it took you a big like gap from getting 400 key to bigger lifts, for example.
Yeah.
So, what do you like? Have you have any kind of perception that if this guy will stick to this for 5, 10 years, he will be elite lifter, or does it not account for
Yeah, I
as
do.
much as right environment and having like genetics for that?
Yeah, I think that the environment's more the third number one for me. The environment. Then they've got to have the work ethic. Um, I've seen a lot of lifters who come to our team, and I think if they stick to it, like you say, in 5, 10 years, they could be up there with the best. But that's a big if they can stay with it.
Mm.
And then you see little signs of missing sessions here and there, and straight away they haven't got it. If you're missing little sessions, oh well, this happened or that happened. Nah, straight away you haven't got it. Potentially you can be great, but you're not going to be great because you
Yeah,
can't make somebody. I don't know. You can't make somebody, but the thing is, I know what you're saying here, but you could give somebody with the most genetic potential, the best training team that I've got, the best nutrition, best coach, best genetics. If they haven't got it inside here, it doesn't matter what you've got around you.
mm.
It's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah. So I can really see that. Like, uh, I think it's overrated training experience as such because you can. I, for example, will train somebody who's been in gym for 10 years, and I primarily go on technique and whatnot. And they'll spend a week with me and then just think like, what on earth have I done last 10 years? So that
Yeah.
experience is probably nowhere near as important as right kind of experience in the right environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's when I take people on from the beginning and they said they've done this squat, this deadlift, this bench, they won't touch on anything like that for a long time with me
Yeah.
because I want to get technique right first. And like you say, I don't know what they've been doing, but they're just getting under a squat bar, the breathing's all wrong, they're looking side to side. There's so many little things they need to work on before they even attempt to put the weight on the bar.
Well, that brings me
And
into the next thing, training style. So your
yeah.
training style. So how important do you think that is? Just following up on what you were starting to talk about now. Sorry for interrupting you, but like I feel like
I've got a short memory. I'm getting old.
so training style. You know how important it is to follow a specific training style. So I know that you are not
style or training plan. Do you mean actual style?
So some will work on really high weights, some will work on low to moderate.
Right, okay.
So what is your preference? What have you seen? Because you've been around the best on the planet. There's no question about it. Is there anything common for all of them? Or is it?
I believe the best, well, what worked for me and what works for a lot of my clients is a mixture of heavy work with speed work. I mean, I've gone as far with this. I've experimented with this. And this is what a lot of people don't do today. They don't experiment with their own bodies and find out what works, what doesn't work. They're too stuck in this little way and they don't want to go outside that. So I go heavy to get the body adapted to that load, but not so heavy when I'm failing anything. And I also do a lot of speed, generating force. That way it keeps me a touch on heavy, but also keeps me fresh, body healthy, not grinding my body into the ground. But I've gone as far as, but this only works. You think about my deadlift over years, it's improved all the time. Now, in the beginning years, I had to train a lot heavier. I trained a lot heavier. I'll tell you a story when I first pulled 410. So when I was training heavy as a junior, with max triples with 380, 385. In me, probably was 20 years old. And one of the best deadlifters in the world, a guy called Gary Heisey from America. So I heard Gary had pulled 380 for 3 reps in training. So I did 385 for 3 reps in training. So I thought, right, I'm stronger than Gary now because I've just done 5 kilos more for 3 reps. So later on, I think 2 or 3 weeks later, we both competed against each other. He went on to just miss 420 for the biggest deadlift of all time. And I only got, what did I pull? I think I pulled 380. I pulled less than I did in training. Now, talking to Gary after this, his 380 in training was like very, very easy. It was like speed. Where my 385 were like, I didn't have anything left.
Yeah.
So even though I did the same weight on a little bit more on paper, he destroyed me on that day. So
Yeah.
weights lifted don't mean anything. It's the way you move them. So after this point, what I did then, I had 5 weeks off training because I got a bit down. I was fed up with it all. I didn't understand because how can I be so much stronger in the gym, but then not as strong on competition day?
Yeah.
And this is when I started figuring things out. I was overtrained, looking back, mega overtrained. So I had 5 weeks off. And in that 5 weeks, all I did was strongman competition in Scotland. And the only back event I did is the stones. I did 5 stones. Back then, the biggest stone, 140 kilos. So it wasn't a massive heavyweight. Did all 5 stones. Come back home, had another week off. Went to the gym with the lads. Wasn't going to train. I saw them deadlifting. So I thought, you know what, I'll join in. Went to get car, got my belt, come back to the gym. Warmed up, 60 kilo, 100, 140, 180, 220, 260, 300. 300 felt very easy. I thought, oh, okay, feels nice. Let's put 340 on, 340, flew up. Let's put 380 on, flew up. Right, okay, so I've just done 385 for 3 hard reps about 5 weeks before. Now I'm doing 380 like it's nothing. I looked at my mate Brian Reynolds, who started before me. I said, what shall I do next? He goes, there's only one number after 380. He's got to go 410. I go, it's 410. He goes, 900 pounds. I said, all right, just do that then. I pulled it comfortable. So it's a massive 900 pounds in the early 20s. Off back and not training for 5 weeks, hardly. So then I said, okay, what should we do next? He goes, well, biggest deadlift ever done's 419. I said, put 425 on. And they all looked at me, daft, 425? I said, yeah, put it on. I was young, I didn't care, I had no fear. So I pulled 425 within an inch of lockout. I just couldn't lock that last little bit out.
Yeah.
So from pulling 380 at competitions, having 5 weeks off, and then just missing 425, which would have smashed the all-time record, it just showed me that you don't have to grind your body into the ground when it comes to strength.
Yeah.
But you've still got to train heavy, mixture with speed. That's what I believe in. And also then the assistance to work all them little muscles, all your weak points you've got around them bigger muscles, them big lifts. I never did anything that didn't help something else. Everything was done for a reason. There was nothing just put in there for the sake of, oh, I like these, I'll do these. You've got to think, why am I doing these? Have these got a purpose? If no, take them out. So that's why my system, to be honest, it's heavy and speed combined. And I think I've got 30 clients, and out of them 30 people, 90% are getting stronger.
Mm.
You know, it don't work for everybody. You've got to adapt things for different people. It's not going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
But if you can get strong on doing less, why do more?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't see the point of killing yourself if you can not kill yourself and get just as strong.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize that you can get strong far quicker than your joint integrity allows you to. and that's when you suffer from injuries.
Yeah.
So, and people are just trying to get strong for the sake of, I did this at this age. No one cares. If you did that at this age,
No,
2 years later, you can't fucking train anymore.
exactly. That's the thing. You've got to build to these weights. You've got to build up to everything. But people today don't want that because they want to put videos on Instagram to see how strong they are. And
Yeah.
nobody's interested in you deadlifting 200 kilos on Instagram, you see. They want to see you pulling 400.
Yeah, every single week.
Yeah, but I
Never
don't.
make
I mean,
progress.
I don't. I mean, after pulling £1,000, I come back to the gym. I had 4 weeks off after a £1,000 deadlift. Didn't train for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I come back to the gym. I think the first deadlift I did back at the gym was 140 kilos.
Yeah.
140 kilos. And we was like, is that all you're doing? 140? Yeah. Yeah, I don't need to. I'm going to peak now in another 6 months when I need to peak. There's no point in killing myself every week for the sake of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes a joy out of it when you start doing it every single week, and it's just so repetitive as well. And
You get injured. And how much mental strength does it take to pull them big numbers every week? It's tough. It's tough for anybody.
So next one, it brings me to, is there any specific nutritional approach that you think elite level powerlifters follow? Because I don't think 20, 30 years ago, it was as kind of evident that people were just like, oh, I need to eat this, I need to eat that. Whereas I think now it's kind of is more kind of obvious. If you don't have these little 1% things that add up to your total performance, you're just going to be left behind. So do you think, was there something when you were doing this that people were following regards nutrition, and has it all changed as towards how you see it now developing and going forward?
Well, when I was my strongest, there was no plan. Nutrition, not gonna lie. It was back then, it was the men were just so big and they were just eating anything. My diet, I mean, I ticked all the boxes. Thing is, I never counted protein. I couldn't tell you what I had. I can't even tell you how many calories I used to eat. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. It was a lot.
It would have been
that size. Protein every meal, carbs every meal, fats, but there wasn't always good fats. There were takeaways going in there. There were chocolate. There were fried breakfast, but there were also all the eggs and the chicken and the meat and there were no. It was just eating as much as possible. And I'm not going to lie, there were no nutrition. Looking back, that's the one thing that I would change. Going back is nutrition, because now I'm a lot more health conscious now. Now my meals, I don't eat. I don't think strength athletes need mega. I don't know. I've never been a big believer in mega high proteins. But I think high carb, good level of fats. Now it's more important. Your electrolytes during training now. See a lot of these top guys cramping up. See, back then we never did any of that. We just drank water. Just didn't do anything like that. But now it's a lot more specialized. And I think now, because the guys are moving on so much, the nutrition now is a massive part of it. It separates the world's best from the guys who just are not quite there. Where back in my day, it wasn't like that. I think we all just used to eat like we used to eat.
Credit for you, the way you have mentioned before, you were quite fit to begin with. So, truth be told, is when you're physically active, whatever you eat is nowhere near as harmful to you as if you're sedentary.
Right. Yeah.
So it actually, I did a study in uni, and I had to do this presentation for lecturers. 4 hours of sitting on your ass absolutely screw up your lipid levels. So you basically become a walking heart attack waiting to happen. So for yourself, you said you were doing power walks and all those kind of things. So it was nowhere near probably as dangerous as it could have been if you were just lifting your weights and then going and sitting on your asshole the rest of the week. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And what you mentioned as well, that big protein amount, like very high protein diets, is probably more relevant to bodybuilding, not to strength.
I think so. Yeah, because I mean, the way I always just look at it, I'm training hard, but I'm not breaking down that muscle like a bodybuilder would. I'm not training to failure in anything. And if you think about a 12-week powerlifting cycle up to a competition, the first 4 or 5 weeks of that are not really heavy. So I'm not getting tired. No, I'm not burning anything. So from my view, mega high protein, I didn't really need it. For me, what I need a lot of when you train heavy like that is sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of sleep. I just sleep every night, 8 to 10 hours, and I'd also sleep in an afternoon, 1.5 to 2 hours every afternoon.
Yeah,
Between 1 and 3 o'clock.
It's interesting perceptions that a lot of people think you need to train to failure to get strong, which is completely opposite.
No. I've never ever trained to failure on any of my powerlifts ever.
Yeah,
Just you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it, do you?
and that's a missing part. I see so many people doing that. Oh, I did 4 sets of headlines, and 5th sets I was just short of hitting my PB. I'm like, I bet next week you're gonna be weaker. Why the hell did you do that?
Yeah, eventually you will be. Yeah, you will be. It can only go down from there. It's not going to go up. But do you think it's hard to understand for people if they don't know?
Yeah.
That how can you train so light but be so strong? Because the weights I move are so quick, they move so fast, but in perfect form.
Yeah.
So everything's being used like it should be being used. If I'm probably generating, like, with a 250 kilo deadlift, 400 kilos of force through that bar. So the way I used to see it is now I'm training for 400 kilo deadlift by pulling 200s, but I'm putting the same force like it's 400. I'm not pulling 200 like it's 200.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move it as fast as possible, but also while keeping that perfect deadlifting line. So it's I'm not pulling it quick and losing all that form and it's going sloppy. The key is to keep that tightness all the way through, while pulling fast. And that's hard to do. You see people doing it and they get frustrated because it's not moving quick, because it's tough. It takes effort. I used to leave the gym feeling totally exhausted, but the loads wasn't heavy. So the next day I recovered, I could train again.
Yeah, I think people are like misjudging the strength training is more about training the movement patterns. So I know you had done some work with Pavel Tsatsouline. I think he explains it's the best. It's basically what Russians term it as grease in the groove. Just
I say that a lot.
You know
exactly what it is. Yeah, because people also, there's a lot of lifters in the UK, potentially great lifters, and I see them training and they'll be squatting and they'll do like five warm-up sets and then they're already at over 300 kilos.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, they're trying to get to that top weight as quick as possible, but they're missing that grease in the groove. All the sets before that, all the sets after that, it's all greasing that. The more sets you do at a lighter percentage, the more practice you get in on the movement. People don't understand. It's not just about, I can do on bench press. I do up to 15 sets of bench press, two variations. It's just, I'd rather do, when I was benching heavy and my bench was stuck at 300 kilos, 310, I think it was, I was doing like an hour benching and an hour of assistance.
Yeah.
Right. So what we thought, well, this is not working. So I'm cutting a bench press short to go do push downs and stuff like that. I'm thinking, what am I doing? I wouldn't do that with squat and deadlift.
Yeah.
So why am I doing it with bench? So all of a sudden, you know what? I'm going to do like 2 or 3 different variations of bench press in one session. So we did a flat bench norm, then we went against bands, bench to boards, and then we might do shirted bench at the end. So it was 4 benching movements for over 2 hours. I might do a few sets of high rep push down, banded push downs, some rear delt, and that's it. And within a year, 330, 340, 350 benches.
Yeah, just stripping it back to basics, isn't it?
Yeah, back to basics and working on the lift that you're trying to get strong at, rather than doing everything around it. People go, I'll do a bit of benching. I want to work on my shoulders now and my triceps and all this.
Yeah.
But there's not going to get you stronger like benching. If you want to get stronger on bench more. Deadlift more, squat more.
Yeah, because like I started as powerlifter, so I still train like that, and I see these guys like I'm gonna do one. I did 1 working set on this, 2 working set on that. Like, yes, that's why you're not making any progress, because you are trying to rush into this working set, and you just completely dismantle the amount of volume which requires for muscle growth. You just need to do a lot. Simple as. But if you're trying to get to this one set and expect it to grow, it's not going to happen. It's just being delusional. So
that's why, you know, that's why I used to back up with speed work, because if you take a percentage, anything over 50%, and you're working up to, I mean, I could go, I don't know what I did on deadlifts, say on deadlifts. I never went much above 350 off the floor, but then I'd do like 5 to 8 down sets of speed straight after that, with short rest periods. So that, even though it's not a heavy load at the top, if you look at the total tons over the session, and the way it's moving, all that helps towards that strength. You don't have to do a massive one rep with 380, then walk out of the gym. That's not going to help anything.
So total volume of perfect.
Total volume, yeah. That's why I touch on the heavy, then come down light. And I say light, it's not light, but it's
heavy for you to not fail.
Yeah. I say. I mean, I on deadlift, just let's stick deadlift up to. See, I only used to go 350, 3 weeks out, and I pulled 1,000. And people say to me, "How can you only pull 350?" Well, what they don't see is off season, I go up to 400 kilos for a triple.
Yeah.
Like 10 to 12 weeks out. And then I back it right down to 180. And then first 3 or 4 weeks after that, I'm going light to let the body recover. Then I start jumping it up big up to 350. So I've done the load 10, 12 weeks out. Now I can recover from that now in this next 10 weeks. So it starts light and builds up again. And I never go more than 350 now. But when you've done 400 for 3, and then you do 350 for 3, after all that rest, my 350 for 3 were like speed.
Yeah.
But your body doesn't lose strength overnight. It doesn't just disappear. And people get scared. Oh, yeah, but I haven't trained for 2 weeks, I'm going to be weak. No, you're not going to be weak. It's mental, it's in your head.
Yeah, it might be a lot lighter weight you use, but it probably was at 3 times faster speed. So the power was there. So, but it brings me to next thing. So all of this, how much do you think like performance enhancing drugs play a role into getting to elite level? Is it something you're willing to talk about? Is it something?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. Yeah, I can tell you what I did exactly. I think a lot of people rely on it too much. In my strongest years, I'd do 500 milligrams of Test-D every 5 days for 4 weeks. And then I'd have 2 or 3 weeks off, totally off, to let everything settle, then do it again. And that's all I would do off season. The guys today, when it comes to the competition, maybe one big competition a year is when I would increase the test level up to 2,000. So I'd do 1,000 milligrams of Test-D, 1,000 milligrams of Sustanon. That'd be from 6-7 weeks out. And then after 3 weeks, I would half that, go down to 1,000. Because I'd sort of load up at the front end, then half. But when I halved it, then so 5 weeks out, then I'd introduce Tren Ace. And Tren Ace, I'd only do 0.5 ml to 1 ml Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's all I ever did. Never any more. And what I'd do then, the Oxy tablets, I'd start off on 3 a day, 30 days out, then go to 2 a day, 20 days out, then 1 a day, 10 days out. And that's all I did. And then the Tuesday before the competition, we fly to America, and I wouldn't take anything out with me. So anything I took was on the Tuesday or the Wednesday before we flew. So I'd have 3 to 4 days completely off everything. And when I got over there, started eating, felt great, didn't feel toxic, and I always performed. And the thing is, with performance sports, strongman and powerlifting, if you don't feel good, you're not going to perform. If you're feeling toxic, I mean, you come to bodybuilding, it's a whole different game, innit? Bodybuilding is different. I mean, bodybuilders can feel like death, but they can look amazing.
Yeah, that's what people don't ever realize. They look amazing, but they are probably dead inside.
Yeah, they're dead inside. But you've got to, in powerlifting and strongman, if I were feeling shit and toxic and taking way too much, I wouldn't be able to pull 1,000 pounds. I wouldn't be able to squat 1,200 pounds. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be sick.
Yeah. So very
You know,
basic, very smart approach. And what people don't
yeah,
realize when I look at them, I don't know, would be interesting to see, to hear your opinion, but what people do now is they just run as much as they can physically do. And then within first 2 weeks after taking something, their appetite goes down. Okay, that's a big
yeah,
problem. Then their mood
yeah,
changes. So they want to watch Bambi and cry instead of going lifting weights. Then
yeah.
something
I know what
else
you mean.
kicks in. Then they run into toilet every 2 minutes because they are dropping bloody, they want to shit their pants because they don't realize that liver and kidneys are affected now. And they are just literally trying to get all those toxins out. But, when I talk to people and when I tell them what honestly people do at very high levels, they just go, is that a day? I'm like, no, that's a week. Oh, it can't be. This guy in gym takes much more. I'm like, I don't give a crap. That guy in gym has not achieved anything. I've seen top level athletes.
Yeah, think of your powerlifting training. If you think about the way you train, and if you cycle your training like I did, like you should do, why would I need all them drugs when I'm not training heavy?
Yeah.
All the time. What's the point? It's pointless. It's not doing anything. So the only time I would increase things is 7 weeks out, but really only 6 weeks on, because I'd fly to America the week before. So even though I started 7 weeks out, and that's the only time I increase things for that big competition in March at the Arnold Classic every year.
Yeah.
When I'm breaking them all-time records. The rest of the time, it was 500 milligrams every 5 days. It's not a small amount.
But you were not a small guy. That's what people realize.
But then I would have only do it for 4 weeks, and have 2 or 3 weeks completely off. And then what I'd do on that 2 or 3 weeks off, I'd take creatine. I'd take my creatine on the 2 or 3 weeks off, and I could hold that power, because it doesn't suddenly just stop Monday by Wednesday a week. It doesn't happen like that. It takes time, and then by the time it's tapering out, I'm starting again. But I never had blood pressure problems then. Everything on my kidneys were fine. Doctor were happy. I was healthy for a lot of years. It's only later on in life, when you start getting older and you still try to keep on push. That's what happened with me. I tried to push too far too long.
So this brings me to, you obviously were experimenting at some point with very high doses. I believe everyone has.
Yeah. That were more in the early years.
Yeah. So
when I was starting out, before I learned from people,
How did this actually make you feel? Did you feel like lethargic?
Shit.
Did your appetite go down?
I felt sick. I felt going to competitions. I felt like I was being sick in my room the day before.
Yeah.
I'd look at a piece of pizza, and I'd be sick, physically sick.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know, I'm going to be able to compete because I've had no food for a day and a half.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it, but I didn't know any different. When you're young in your early 20s, I didn't know. There were nobody around me. It was only when I met Brian Batcheldor in '99. So I did 3 years of powerlifting, and then I went to strongman, and then I was still sort of figuring things out myself, talking to other people. But in '99, when I met Brian Batcheldor, he changed everything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and everything got cut down. Don't use that. You don't need all that.
I hear it all the time. It's like, oh, what do I take for this? What do I take for that? What's your training and diets like? What are you on about? Like, well, if that is not sorted, you can take whatever the hell you want. Nothing's gonna work. Like, I know. My golden rule is, if anyone comes to work with me, if you're taking something, get off it for 6 weeks. Let's see, what can you do? And they just go with like massive eyes. What are you on about? And I get them off it. And within 2 to 4 weeks, their appetite goes through the roof. They get big. They look like solid, and they train really hard. Mood is great. And they're like, okay, if you want to do something now, do blood tests, and let's carry on. Do whatever you want, but do it smart. Now this is going to be useful. But before that, you're just trying to. I don't even understand what they're trying to do, because there's so much misinformation. So what do you see now? What people do now differently? What do you think is much different than compared to what you were doing then? Or our elite level athletes are still as conscious about, let's keep it low and keep it safe and feel better and push harder? Or those at this time, they are really pushing drugs way too hard? What do you think is happening?
I know Yeah, I know a few of the elite lads now in strongman, powerlifting, and the ones I know are pretty sensible, to be honest. They're not doing crazy amounts. I was talking to a couple this week, and they're not doing the amounts they're saying. It's like, oh, that's similar to what I used to do. You know what I mean? And they feel great. And they've told me this week that they've tried more, but all they did was feel crap, and the appetite went. I think it's more. The guys at the top. I honestly don't think they're. I think a few of them might be, but I don't think they're killing it. I don't think they're abusing it bad, because they wouldn't be able to perform like they're performing all the time if they were. They'd be short-lived, and some of these guys have been around a long time.
Yeah.
But I think it's more the younger kids coming up to that level, thinking, I need to get that to be at that level without thinking about nutrition, sleep, training. Are you training hard enough? Are you training smart enough? Have you got a plan?
Yeah.
They just think drugs are everything. They think drugs is the answer to everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know guys they've not been off training a year.
I know a guy came
Crazy.
to me, a young kid, and he's like, "Oh, I want to train with you. I want to do this. I want to do that." He just wanted to look good. Yeah. Like, okay, have you ever touched any drugs? Oh yeah, I've just started my first cycle. 1,000 milligrams of test, 1,000 milligrams of tren, 1,000 milligrams of masteron. And I'm like, what on earth?
Crazy, I don't know, but they're not even that good when they're on it.
Oh no, he looked like trash.
They're not even strong. Yeah, they're not even strong. They're not. It's pointless. It's just pointless.
Yeah.
But I don't think these guys they're never going to make it, because they haven't got the right attitude straight away. They haven't got what it takes. You know.
So what's your opinion? Do you think if people need to rely on drugs straight away and they can't develop any strengths without them, would you even allow them to pursue strength training and such?
I think they can still do it, but I wouldn't sacrifice everything in their life to do it. I wouldn't give up the day job, I wouldn't give up the day job, and I wouldn't sacrifice the life. I mean, I understand that people never know. You never know how good you're going to be unless you give it 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know I was going to pull £1,000 when I was starting out at 20 years old, and I left my jobs. If any of my work at the time revolved around like the change of shifts from early mornings to an evening, and I used to train at 5 o'clock, 5:30 with lads Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if my work said, Andy, you've got to work 2:10 this week, I says, no, I'm not working. They go, what do you mean I'm not working? You've got to do. No, I don't. I'm not working it. What are you going to do? Well, I'm notice and I'll leave. I left. I'm gone. Yeah. I'm not. My training is my life, but I didn't have a family back then. I didn't have anybody to rely on but myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, so I understand it's a tough one, because you need to. They want to know, could I make it if I give it everything? But then also, the other hand, I pulled £1,000 deadlift in 2006, and I was driving a wagon, delivering power tools, heavy power tools, right up until 5 days before. And I went over there, pulled 1,000, come back, had a week off, went back to work again.
So
there's no excuse.
You
still can work. You see, you can still work.
Yeah.
But the early years, I'd flip between jobs. I'd pack in jobs so I could get to the gym with lads, and I'd work on doors.
Yeah, classic.
But, yeah, you just do what you've got to do, don't you? But if you've got a family and that, and you need people who are relying on you, you can't just, pack up your job because you want to make it in strongman. Yeah. But you might never make it in strongman. So what you've got to be realistic with yourself, haven't you? Let's be honest. You've got to be honest. Or you need somebody around you who can say, look, mate, you're not going to make this. Just do it keep on doing it for fun. You can still compete, but don't sacrifice your life for it.
Yeah. So it brings me next to blood work. How important that has been in your chase for 1,000 pounds and whatnot. Did you actually take a lot of notice of it, or was it just something later in years, or how conscious were you about wanting?
It never happened. It never happened back then. I'm not going to lie, because you went to your doctors back then and you said, I'm taking this, and this. I need the blood. They'll look at you. You can't take that. That's illegal. Get off it straight away. Yeah, I know that. But can you give me a blood test? No, it's illegal. And they're marking it down in your notes. And you never got a blood test. They never got a blood test. They wouldn't do it for you. And back then, I I don't know if you could get private blood tests when I was competing at that level.
Yeah.
In 2000s. I don't know. Where now I was with a couple of top guys this week, and they're getting blood tests. They get blood tests after big competitions, before they start a cycle.
Yeah, it's easy.
Now, if I'd have done that, that'd have been so much easier and better for me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when my kidneys actually went, I got a scare. The creatinine went up above 200. Doctor called me in. I went to kidney clinic. He said, "Oh, your creatinine's gone up. What can we do?" So he told me just to clean up your diet, try to lose a little bit of weight, drink more water, all the just normal things everybody can do. So I did that. Within a couple of weeks, he called me, "Oh, your creatinine's back down. It's down to like 90, 89. It's normal." Okay, that's good. He says, "Come back every 3 months and we'll keep an eye on it." I went back a year later. I went back a year later because I felt great. I felt great until I didn't feel great. And then I knew something was wrong. I squatted 350 one night, felt easy. The week after, I couldn't squat 200.
Yeah.
Like someone just put brakes on me. Someone just stopped my body from working. I went home to my wife, said, "Something's wrong. Something is wrong."
What year was that?
That was in 2015. 15.
What were you getting ready for?
Something's wrong straight away. So I went to the clinic, and when I got to reception, he said, "Oh no, I'm just getting you a bed." And a bed, what for? He goes, "Oh, your kidneys have failed." And I looked at him in shock. I had no idea. Then they were talking about dialysis, putting a line in my neck, all this stuff. And when I got to the clinic, I saw the same doctor, Dr. Mooney, who'd seen me a year before. And he looked at me and he laughed and he started shaking his head. He said, "What did I say, Andy, a year ago? Come and see me every 3 months. And I'm just seeing you now. And now it's too late now. Your kidneys have gone past that point of recovering." But then we found out I actually had cancer in my kidney.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything I could have done about it. Yeah, nothing I could have done about that. But they had to take the cancer out, and then that led to loads of other problems. But with blood tests, we could have prevented a lot of things, before it happened.
So what do you do with your athletes now? How often do you chase them to do blood tests now?
Well, mate, you can only ask them, but to be honest, a lot of them don't do it.
Yeah, a lot of them will be scared, aren't they?
Don't do it because they'd rather not know what's wrong. I mean, one guy is with me, drug-free, progressing nice and slow, did my deadlift challenge, lifted best junior, best this, great lifter. Next thing is pulling like 30, 40 kilos more. He's left me now. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? He's decided to go on gear. Not told me. He'd sort of not messaged me at all for this time. He's pulling 330 now from 290.
Yeah.
I said, what have you got on gear? He goes, "Yeah, so what are you using?" "I'm using 1,000 milligrams of this, some milligrams of this and this." It's first time a junior lifter. And I said, he goes, "I'm going to do that for 12 weeks. And then I'm going to cruise." I'm like, you know what? I can't work with you. I can't work with you. We could have done this together in little stages, But he's just gone balls out to the thing. 12-week cycles is ridiculous anyway for a powerlifter.
Yeah, people just don't appreciate that. For whatever reason, when they talk to someone like you or someone else who's really highly experienced and they tell them the truth, they will just go, "No, it can't be. You must be lying. You must have taken at least 4 times more." Yeah. And I have gone through a lot of blood tests and whatnot. Just recently, World's Strongest Man that passed, I had looked at 2 of top 10 guys of blood tests. They touched a bit of training and whatnot. Yeah. Lipids were all over the place, but they'll be completely fine because I know them. Like, they recover really quick and they don't do anything crazy. Like, they do similar what you do. For amount of body weight they carry, the amount of stuff they take is absolutely negligent. And then you have like 70 to 90 kilos guys taking 5 times more, looking absolute crap, like losing their mind because they mentally can't deal with it. Because what people
that's the thing,
neglecting completely, it affects you mentally. You want to admit it or not, it does affect you mentally.
Of course it does, And you can see it in the face, can't you? In the skin. Yeah. You can just see they look that dark color in the skin. It just looks. You can see it a mile. You can see it.
Yeah. So from all that, so blood work is obviously now you kind of would value it much more than that.
Well, even now, I get blood work done every 2 months now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every 2 months, full everything.
You're usually quite good now lately, isn't it? Everything is.
Yeah, it's fine. My kidney function 4 weeks ago, it's over 65.
Yeah, so that's great.
Creatinine is 130, which has been like that for last year.
That's
potassium and all that's normal.
For the amount of weight you lift, everything, all those numbers are just insanely good. So, what do you think is the biggest struggle? You touched on this already, so missing out on family time and whatnot. Being at elite level as a powerlifter. So, what would you say? 3 biggest things that are taken away from you. I'm probably wrong wording, but what would you say is the biggest challenge that you think, if I wasn't at elite level, I would really enjoy doing this, but I have to sacrifice this to be at this level?
Well, for me, it was doing like the simple things with my daughter when she was a baby, going to the park, going to the swings, because I was so big and I was training later that night. So I need to sleep at 1 o'clock. Yeah, we'll only be half an hour. My wife had said, yeah, but I'm sleeping at 1 till 3 and then I'm off to gym here and I'm doing that. So that's a big thing. Just being able to go like that. And also being able to go on holiday when you want to go on holiday. Everything's got to be planned around your lifting and your competitions. You can't book a holiday in week 6 of a prep for Arnold Classic. It just wouldn't happen. And work as well. Work's a struggle because all you're thinking about is training. You're getting big, strong, and you don't want to work. You just don't want to go to work. You want to sleep and just rest. So for me, it was family, the simple things, holidays. My wife just said to me after a while, all our holidays are based around your competitions. So if I'm competing in Florida at World Championships, then we stay an extra week after the competition. That's a holiday. That's a holiday for that year. And for me, it was just like if anybody's birthday, family's friends' birthdays landed on a training night, I wouldn't go.
This is like interesting.
I would not miss training for anything.
Yeah.
Level.
Because it was actually one of the reasons why I used to do powerlifting at the beginning and I swapped to for bodybuilding, because it's much easier to do something around it. Because you can bodybuild in any gym, you don't need the specific equipment, you don't need your and whatnot. You can do something any place. You can go on your holidays and still eat and still train, and it's not so important that you miss out your heavy week and then do this and that. It's much easier. It's nowhere near. How can I explain? It is not easy because bodybuilding is just fucking mental stuff. You need to be crazy and all out.
I think bodybuilding's 24/7 as well, isn't it? Bodybuilding, the food, everything's. You can't, like with powerlifting, you do a big lift and you can have a little time off and you can sort of take it easy, build up to the next one. With bodybuilding, if you're not training hard, you're not building muscle, are you? You just you're missing that time you can build muscle.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that environment, as important as it is, you can kind of go in a middle of 6-week intense training cycle, just go, I'm going to go on holiday for a week. It's not going to impact much. Whereas if you're preparing for a big lift and you have program for 12 weeks, you just can't go in the middle of that and just suck it up. So
you know what it is? It's not even the week off. It's that you're sitting in the sun, you're getting weak, you're not eating the same food. And when you come back, it can take me 2 weeks when I get back to where I was before I left.
Yeah.
So you've lost 3 weeks really. So I was never good at that. Yeah, I never did that.
So what would you say are biggest benefits when you flip all this? What do you say because you were at elite level? So what do you think were 3 biggest takeaways that you think were just worse than all the shit you went through and you just enjoyed?
Well, for me, being the first man to pull 1,000 pounds, all that sacrifice up to that point, to me, is worth it.
Yeah.
I've done something I've dreamt about doing, and that's never going to be taken away. No matter what happens now, it can never be taken away. just the traveling as well, the traveling away to shows, the friends that I've met over the years. All my friends are through lifting and competing.
Mm.
And you've got it's a different class of friend. You know, you've got your friends that you grow up with who'll go to a pub and they want to see you, oh, come for a drink, come to the pub with us. And your friends who are into lifting. Now, without that lifting and me lifting like I did, I wouldn't have met them people.
Yeah.
And they become my closest friends. I don't really mix a lot with the people who don't train now.
Mm.
It's only the environment that. So it's that gym environment that's given me a lot. It's given me all my friends now. It's just, to me, it's a satisfaction. I don't know. It's just the feeling I get from lifting and just, it's priceless. It's who I am. It's not what I do. It's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of me. I'm not doing this just to do it. I will train like this until I can't train no more.
The way I see it from side is you just love helping out now so much. It's just,
yeah, and I do help helping other people, but I still love my own training as well. It's the whole business of it. I enjoy.
Mm. Yeah, so it's like people say, oh, you sacrifice this, you sacrifice that. No, you kind of pick your own poison, you know.
Yeah, it's not a sacrifice, is it? If you love doing what you're doing, it's not a sacrifice. Yeah. If you see it as a sacrifice, yeah, but I need to go out with my wife, I need to do this weekend, or I need to do that, and I've got a competition, so I can't go, then it's not for you, is it? It's not for you. Because me traveling around, missing these things, I didn't feel bad about that.
Yeah.
I never felt bad. Yeah. Looking back, I mean, yeah, it'd been nice to spend time, but my daughter's still here. Still spend time with her now. She's not gone anywhere. Yeah. But I've still done what I've done. But if I had just sacrificed all that for my daughter like that growing up, spending all that time with her as a baby, which you wouldn't have remembered any of it anyway, then I wouldn't have done half the things I've done.
Yeah. And you probably wouldn't be able to share your experience with people and help them.
Yeah, but now she tells all her school friends, and all her school friends at school are checking me out on YouTube and, oh, your dad does this, he's done that. But without that, you wouldn't have that. Yeah. It makes you who you are. But it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah. No, cool, Andy. I really love this. I know you're doing like coaching. Are you still taking any clients on? Do you do any online coaching? Are you doing
pretty close coaching? Pretty close to online is my main business, to be honest. The online work.
So how can people find you online?
You go to Andy Bolton, www.andyboltonstrength.com. Instagram, Andy Bolton 1003. On Facebook, Andy Bolton Powerlifter. Contact me through any of them. I'll always reply. I'm pretty good with replying to people, you know. I have got 30 plus online clients at the moment. Due to this COVID, PTs have been very limited, you know, it's been quite tough with that. But I do workshops. I did a workshop just before lockdown in Southampton. Cover all the basic lifts. If there's any gyms that are interested in, you know, programming, cycling your training, sticking points, just technique work, and it's very hands-on. I do very hands-on practical workshops. It's not just talking and theory, you know. I get the lifter on the bar and everybody works out, and I correct techniques as we go along.
Yeah, when all this ends up, I need to bring my boys down so you can.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. I've had a few lads down who struggle. I'm coaching a big guy in Scotland at the minute, Andy Black, who's really good. Yeah. He come with me not long ago, and he was struggling. He was hurting his back at like 240, 250s. He was rounding a lot. He's a 6'9", 200 kilo man. You know what I mean? He's a big man. He's a giant. He's only been training 2 years. And 240s, 250s were hurting him. He hurt his middle of his back. So I said, if he comes down to Leeds, we'll have a look. Coming down to Leeds before lockdown. Looked at him, corrected a few little things. Last week, he double 380. Comfortable. Yeah. With no pain. And the only pain now he's getting is his hamstring. That's fine. Hamstrings are fine when you're deadlifting like that. Yeah. But you don't want it in the middle of your back. Yeah. But now he's loving it now, you know, and that's just a matter of 1 hour. 1 hour correcting a few little minor things.
So in all these lockdown lifts, can people still come and have like odd one-off session? Just
they can do one-off sessions. Yeah, small groups, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, do whatever they want to do.
I'll drop all the details because I'm going to put it on YouTube so people can find you and stuff. I really appreciate your time, and it was really interesting. So a lot of stuff like this. I'm always interested in knowing what people do. I'm just obsessed with strengths and everything. I just like seeing people being powerful and just see what's actually in their head. And from everyone I've talked to, it's usually the mindset and environment comes in that people never really emphasize it until they actually speak about it and they realize, oh shit, if I had not been in that place with those people, no matter how good would I have been genetically born wherever, I would not achieve anything with the right people around me. So
I agree 100%. I would not have done what I did without a team around me. I would not have done it. And that's not even without question. I would not have done what I did. And I might have even ended up moving sports because you can't do powerlifting like that by yourself. It's not a one-man sport. You need to have people around you pushing you.
Yeah.
If you want to be great anyway, if you want to be one of the best, the elite level.
Yeah. And being able to bounce with in same energy, from each other. Like that's great.
It's a social thing as well. I mean, we'll be back training tomorrow at Raoul's gym. It's just getting lads together again, the energy and seeing people. Because we've been together so long as a team, it's like a unit.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how everybody works. We all know how to spot each other.
Yeah.
We know everybody's
Takes
attitude.
time, doesn't it?
We know everything. Yeah. When people come in from outside, they look at it and think, shit, this is a bit aggressive. This is a little bit. But once I've had a session with them and then they get to know lads, it's not like that. These lads are very encouraging. They push and push and push it. But if you don't pull your weight, if you don't do your spotting and you don't do anything else, they're going to let you know pretty quick.
Yeah. And you have to have thick skin to understand, they're not bashing you.
Yeah.
Just like...
Yeah. We've screamed at people.
Pull your finger out and be on the same level.
Yeah, they get upset and they don't come back. Some people, they can't take it. But if you can't take that, mate, it's the wrong sport for you because we're not here just to make you feel good.
Like I have a training partner now. I trained him for nearly 2 years before I let him to train with me. I'm like, this is how you're going to spot me. This is what you're going to say. Yeah. And when I'm doing this, you just shut the hell up. That's it.
It takes time though, doesn't it? It takes time for somebody to know how you work.
Yeah.
And that's why I like a team who's there all the time. I don't like taking new people in and out because they come in and what they do, they feed off you, but they give nothing back.
Yeah,
and I don't like that.
Yeah,
and a new guy comes into our gym, I won't give him anything, nothing. He's got to earn my respect. He's got to earn it from me.
Yeah.
And after a while, a few months, I've seen him coming back, putting the work in, doing the spotting, helping out, and going out of his way to help. Then I'll start to warm to him a little bit, and then I'll give him a bit of a push here and there, and then I'll criticize him as well. And if they can't take that, if they can't take it, well, it's not for them. Then they leave, and the next man comes in.
Yeah. No, cool. Really, we probably could talk for days about different topics. Yeah. I'll have to drag you on another day, but I think for this time it will be enough. So thanks for your time, and I really appreciate you finding actually like more than an hour we've been talking up now.
Yeah, I don't know what time it's been.
Chat about this stuff. And I'll catch up with you soon anyway. So thanks for that.
No problem.
Right. Yeah. I'll see you. Bye.
Well, mate, see you later. Bye-bye.